Good day, everyone. I am Aduwebimo Paul Kende from Nigeria, and together with me is Nelly Ogada from Kenya. And we are on the negative team of the topic: should local communities have control over how genetic research is conducted in their local populations, or should National Ethics Board make those decisions? And we are saying yes, the National Ethics Board should make those decisions. Because of a lot of institutions involved with rendering of healthcare services are rapidly getting involved in the field of genetics and genomics. And interestingly, even bodies and organizations not involved in healthcare services are also diving into this field. At this rate, there is an ever increasing and evolving public concerns on how these researches are being carried out, what are involved in it, the outcomes, how do they apply to the day-to-day lives of the individuals. So I would be letting my partner take it from here to tell us the various reasons why National Ethics Board should be in control of how genetic research is carried out on the local population. Due to the unpredictable outcome of genetic research, the unheard public concerns, and the issues of respect, beneficence, justice, bans, and prohibitions, there is need for a body to regulate these activities and create policies on how they are being carried out. That is where the National Ethics Board comes in. This body comprises of individuals of both public and private domains, and they are charged with the primary duty of standing in the gap between the public and the legislators. They are also involved in research, formation of policies, implementation and funding of ethical standards and policies guiding genetic research. At this moment, I would like my partner to come in to take the reasons why National Ethics Board should be in control of how genetic research is conducted on local population.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul, for the introduction. I would like to go through the reasons why National Ethics Board should make decisions about how genetic research is conducted in local populations. The first one is advocacy. So the knowledge of the local population on genetics is little to none. And then the public concerns on the outcome of genetic research, sidelining of public opinion in making decisions. Then the second reason is protection of vulnerable population, mostly the level of literacy, resource limited population, and then they're usually financially constrained. Okay, the third reason is standards of ethical guidelines. So there are already existing policies in place at the National Ethics Board, and then they also help in implementations of guidelines and reviewing and amendments with change in trends. The fourth reason is addressing potential risks such as privacy infringement, genetic discrimination, and social implication of the research. The fifth reason is the local context, understanding of the specific cultural, social, and legal norms within a country. These national ethics boards, they usually understand all that about allocation before embarking on a research. And then the other reason is transparency and accountability, whereby you find that the boards usually does monitoring of research proposals, monitoring of the research work as it's ongoing, accountability of research outcomes. And to our sixth reason, data privacy and confidentiality, and there are guidelines for the storage, use, and sharing of genetic data that are in place at the National Ethics Board. And then number seven reason is addressing unique contexts of local populations, such as their traditional beliefs, religious practices, and language barriers, which are usually enshrined in the guidelines at the National Ethics Board. So I'd like to welcome Paul to take us through the case studies that we have on this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you for that wonderful presentation, Nelly. Now we will be considering the hereditary and health in Africa. This body was established in the year 2010 in collaboration with the NIH UK for the purpose of identifying the scientific, ethical, and practical questions involved with genetic and genomic research. However, it is faced with some shortcomings such as formulation of policies that are based on generic guidance, and these guidance couldn't integrate unique conditions of independent countries. And the data used in these formulations were either artificial, outdated, or difficult to navigate. Now, looking at the ways in which National Ethics Board uh, has or can play a role in uh, battling these shortcomings. These roles are being played in form of establishing a continuous access to the local population, continuous research by the National Ethics Board on evolving public perspectives on genetics and genomic research, and also establishment of educational programs for the local population to educate them on the developments involved in genetics and genomic research, and how they would be able to embrace the changes that result from these researches. Let's look at another case where the economic status of the local population isn't that favorable. Many countries, especially those of the African continent, don't have modern technologies or knowledge needed in genetics and genomic research. Therefore, they have to depend on foreign locations for carrying out tests on locally acquired specimens. And this has resulted in a development of sense of mistrust and exploitation. There's also the issue of difficulty of the individuals uh, with adapting to foreign environment, and also there is compulsive acceptance of foreign research practices and guidelines. In order to bring solutions to these shortcomings, the National Ethics Board is involved with funding local institutions where research can be carried out locally, and also actively actively participating in foreign consultations involving locally acquired specimens. The National Ethics Board is also involved in making negotiations with foreign countries on their policies or guidelines with the local population in mind. Let's say, for example, I'm a researcher and I get local specimens from a population of the African origin, and then due to inadequate resources, I have to carry these specimens to, let's say, a European country to carry out my research. Then these specimens and how they are being handled would be controlled by the National Ethics Board. That is, they would help me in negotiating with the European country of my choice to favor the research, and also having in mind the African continent of which I'm coming from. That is why the National Ethics Board is very important as regarding genetics and genomic research. So at this moment, I would like my partner to come in to take the rebuttal part. Thank you.
From the case studies, we find that National Ethics Board are standardizing research regulations across different communities, and these allow for more comparable research results to be obtained, making them usable for reference in future studies. So, standardization of ethics basically, the board has established consistent guidelines for research conduct, including informed consent procedures, participants' protection, data handling, and risk assessment. And this ensuring that research is conducted ethically across different institutions and communities. And then comparability of results when researchers adhere to same ethical standards set by the National Ethics Board. Their findings can be compared and analyzed more readily across even regions and areas that the research has been done differently. So there are benefits to future research. This is by following standardized ethics guidelines, researchers can build upon previous findings and use them as a foundation for new research, knowing that the studies were conducted ethically and are comparable. Then contextual differences. While national ethics boards promote standardization, some aspects of research might still need to be adapted to the specific cultural context of our community. And institutional variation, although national guidelines exist, individual research ethics committee might interpret them slightly differently, leading to minor variation in practices. And then importance of transparency in that researchers should clearly document their research methods and ethical considerations to ensure transparency, and comparability with other studies. So, generally, to tackle the issues that our colleagues have raised, we'd like to say that National Ethics Board enhance standardization of the rules of play, hence research are carried out in similar manner regardless of the community, hence the results are comparable and can be used for reference in other upcoming studies. They had the following issues. The first one is that generic consent processes, ignoring local context, and would like to say that the national boards do incorporate the local cultural context and specific community preferences into the design and implementation of informed consent procedures through community engagement, formative research, and adapting consent materials to local languages and customs. The other concern was that there's disregard for communal decision making. And here is that the National Ethics Board usually avoids this by emphasizing community engagement, ensuring informed consent from individuals, and prioritizing the community's well-being as a whole. So this includes includes actively involving community members in the research process, providing clear and accessible information about the research and addressing potential risks and benefits to the community. Another concern was insensitivity to cultural taboos and beliefs, and we already mentioned that. The research board, usually the ethics board, usually and goes and takes care of the community beliefs, traditional, even religious beliefs. The other concern, the third concern, the next concern was power imbalances in benefit sharing. And the National Ethics Board addressed power imbalances in benefit sharing by promoting transparency, ensuring meaningful community engagement, and establishing mechanisms for fair and equitable compensation. And then finally, they said that there is failure to address historical trauma, and this one is usually prevented by the National Ethics Board by prioritizing community engagement, incorporating diverse perspectives, and ensuring that robust, informed consent process is followed. So this includes acknowledging past injustices and their potential impact on current research participants, especially those from marginalized or indigenous communities. Additionally, boards can implement measures to protect the privacy and confidentiality of genetic data, particularly in vulnerable populations, and to avoid stigmatization and discrimination. So, we would like to conclude by saying that national ethics boards should play a crucial role in overseeing genetic research conducted on local populations, ensuring ethical guidelines are followed, and protecting the rights and well being of participants. And also that the boards provide an essential framework for conducting responsible and beneficial research.